us. We have died. What is there to be afraid of? It answers them. But that happens so gradually, so easily. I'm afraid of being rushed. It stares and stares. Its lips part. It starts to breathe through its mouth, until the cortex orders it impatiently to wash, to shave, to brush its hair. Its nakedness has to be covered. It must be dressed up in clothes because it is going outside, into the world of the other people, and these others must be able to identify it. Its behavior must be acceptable to them. Obediently, it washes, shaves, brushes its hair, for it accepts its responsibilities to the others. It is even glad that it has its place among them. It knows what is expected of it. It knows its name. It is called George. By the time it has gotten dressed, it has become he, has become already more or less George, though still not the whole George they demand and are prepared to recognize. Those who call him on the phone at this hour of the morning would be bewildered, maybe even scared, if they could realize what this three-quarters human being is that they're talking to. But of course, they never could. Its voice's mimicry of their George is nearly perfect. Even Charlotte is taken in by it. Only 2 or 3 times has she sensed something uncanny and asked, "Gio, are you all right?" He crosses the front room, which he calls his study, and comes down the staircase. The stairs turn a corner. They're narrow and steep. You can touch both handrails with your elbows, and you have to bend your head, even if, like George, you're only 5'8". This is a tightly planned little house. He often feels protected by its smallness. There's hardly room enough here to feel lonely. Nevertheless, think of 2 people, living together day after day, year after year, in this small space, standing elbow to elbow, cooking at the same small stove, squeezing past each other on the narrow stairs, shaving in front of the same small bathroom mirror, constantly jogging, jostling, bumping against each other's bodies, by mistake or on purpose, sensually, aggressively, awkwardly, impatiently, in rage or in love. Think what deep, though invisible tracks they must leave, everywhere behind them. The doorway into the kitchen has been built too narrow. 2 people in a hurry with plates of food in their hands are apt to keep colliding here. And it is here, nearly every morning, that George, having reached the bottom of the stairs, has this sensation of suddenly finding himself on an abrupt, brutally broken-off, jagged edge, as though the track had disappeared down a landslide. It is here that he stops short, and knows, with a sick newness, almost as though it were for the first time, Jim is dead. Is dead. He stands quite still, silent, or at most uttering a brief animal grunt as he waits for the spasm to pass. Then he walks into the kitchen. These morning spasms are too painful to be treated sentimentally. After them, he feels relief, merely. It's like getting over a bad attack of cramp. Today, there are more ants winding in column across the floor, climbing up over the sink and threatening the closet where he keeps the jams and the honey. Doggedly, he destroys them with a flit gun, and has a sudden glimpse of himself doing this, an obstinate, malevolent old thing imposing his will upon these instructive and admirable insects. Life destroying life before an audience of objects, pots and pans, knives and forks, cans and bottles that have no part in the kingdom of evolution. Why? Why? Is it some cosmic enemy, some arch-tyrant who tries to blind us to his very existence by setting us against our natural allies, the fellow victims of his tyranny? But alas, by the time George has thought all this, the ants are already dead and mopped up on a wet cloth.